Hello, everyone. We're starting a new chapter, chapter 3, which deals with angles. And so we're starting our first lesson, which is math lesson 3.1. Before we begin, though, there's a couple of vocabulary words that I want us to have down. And so I'm going to go over them. You'll see them in the green box below. The first one is a transversal. And a transversal is a line that goes through a pair of lines, usually through a parallel line. So if we look on our assignment today, our first problem number 1, which you see here, what I just highlighted, that is a transversal because it goes through lines G and lines H. So a transversal is basically any line that goes through a pair of lines. Next is alternate exterior angles. And alternate exterior angles are a pair of angles on the outside of a pair of lines, but are on opposite sides of a transversal and is congruent with parallel lines. So there's a lot of wording, but basically, and I'll highlight this in green, angle number 1, you have angle number 1, and then you have angle number 7. These are alternate exterior angles. Now, if these lines were parallel, if line G and line H were parallel, then those two angles would be congruent or basically have the same angle. Another one we can look at is angles 2 and angles 8. Again, these are alternate exterior angles because they are on the outside of these two lines. Notice they're on the outside of lines G, on the outside of line H, and they're on opposite sides of each other. Number 2 is on the right side, and number 3 is on the left. Or angle 8 is on the left. So that's alternate exterior angles. Next one is alternate interior angles, which is similar to alternate exterior angles, but they are a pair of angles on the inside of parallel lines, but on the opposite side of a transversal. Is congruent, and you see a little typo there, is congruent with parallel lines. So here's what we have. We have, and I'll do this in orange. Now we're looking at the inside of two lines. So angle 4 would be alternate interior angles with angle 6. And again, you have two pairs. So angle 3 is another, and angle 5. Okay. Next is vertical angles. And vertical angles are opposite angles made by two intersecting lines. So what we have is a vertical angle to number 1, angle 1 is angle 3, and vertical angle to angle 5 is angle 7. And last, and you have a bunch, right? 2 and 4, and 6 and 8. Okay, so those are our key definitions. So when we look at our problem today, our first set of problems, we're looking at, and we'll talk about corresponding angles later in a little bit. We're looking first at the alternate exterior angle. So I kind of mentioned it, but number 1 is on the exterior, and number 7 is its alternate exterior angle. So I would put 1 and 7 in these boxes. Next is alternate interior angles, and again, we look at the inside of these two sets of lines, and so we're going to do 4 and angle 6. So we will put 4 and 6 there. And corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are pretty straightforward. It's basically on these two sets of lines, so lines G and H, a corresponding angle to angle 1 is angle 5. Or another corresponding angle is angle 3 and angle 7. They're on the same side, right? All the alternate interior, alternate exterior, those are on the opposite sides. Corresponding angles just mean the same side. Okay, so that's basically 1 through 5. So we're going to go and look at problem number 5. And again, we're going to look at alternate interior angle first. So A says alternate interior angle. So again, we look at our two lines. This is line M. This is line N. Our transversal, or the line that goes across from those two, is A. And then we look at our alternate exterior angles. One way we could do this is we could just kind of tilt our head, make the pairs of lines going side to side instead of up and down, but you can still solve it this way. Alternate interior angle, so we look at the inside of these two lines, so we look here in this inside area. So and how you can do this is you can just pick one, so I'll pick 7, and I look at the other side, which is here, and I pick the opposite side. So what's opposite of 7? Well, 2 is. Another answer that could have worked is 6 and 3. Those are both correct. Next is corresponding angles, right? And it's what I just covered. So corresponding angle, so let's look at corresponding angle to angle 8. Same side, which would be angle 6. Angle 4 or angle 2, that's also acceptable. 7 and 5 and 3 and 1. So those are the ones you would fill in here. Actually, let me fill those in. So you get 7 and 2 for alternate interior angles, and then corresponding angles could be 4, 2. Okay. Last one is alternate exterior angles. So alternate exterior angles are the angles on the outside, so we're going to only focus our attention on 5 and 1 and 8 and 4. And we're going to look at, and I'll pick yellow, and I'm going to pick one of those 4 angles. I just pick one of them. So let's say I pick 5. So I can put 5 in my answer box here, and then I look for the one, then I decide between 8 and 4 which one is on the opposite side, and that would be angle 4. Right? Notice how 5 is facing this way, 4 is facing this way. That's one way you can think of it. Those are opposite sides. So that's going to be your first 5 problems today. We're going to go to number 6 to see the last, or the second bit. So these are parallel lines, okay? And I'm going to pause the video just on my end. Now you should see the vocab words from earlier. So this is important, right? And the reason why it's important is earlier I mentioned that alternate exterior angles and alternate interior angles are both congruent, right? And so for us it's important to remember that. So let's take a look at what it says. 2 parallel lines are cut by a transversal as shown below. Suppose angle 8 is 144. Find the measurement of angle 1 and angle 3. So basically, all we're given is that angle 8 is 144. Okay, and I have to find angles 1 and angle 3. So I have to use kind of the rules that we've just talked about. And there's a couple ways you can do this. I'll just show you one way that I like to do this. And if you decide a different way works for you, that's totally fine. So, knowing that this is a line right here, I know that all lines have a total angle measure of 180. Right? So what that means is angle 8, oops, sorry about that, angle 8, angle 8 and angle 7 equal 180. Right? So I know that this together equals 180. So all I have to do is I have to take 180 and subtract it by 144. That gets me 36. So that I know angle 7 is 36 degrees. And this is actually going to be able to help me solve the rest of these. So I'm going to erase this work here. And I'm going to know, or I'm going to realize that angle 7 is an alternate exterior angle with angle 1. And since these are parallel lines, that means that they're congruent. So that means this, angle 1, is also 36 degrees. Okay, so I figured out angle 1 is 36. So what about angle 3? Well, notice how angle 1 is directly across or opposite of angle 3. Well, that makes them vertical angles, which makes them also the same. So the answer is for angle 1, that's 36 degrees. And the answer for angle 3, that's also 36. So let's do another problem, another practice problem, and we'll call it a day. So let's go to number 8. Okay, again, same type of problem, and we're going to use what we've learned. So this says two parallel lines, again parallel lines, are cut by a transversal as shown below. Suppose angle 2 is equal to 82 degrees. So I'm just going to write that in. This is 82 degrees. Find angle 5 and angle 8. So then my goal is to find these two. And so I have to use my rules. Alternate exterior angles, alternate interior angles. Another way I can think of it is, what is angle 2? And angle 2 is an exterior angle. And I see that angle 8 and angle 7 are also exterior angles. And specifically, 2 and 8 are alternate exterior angles. So we have 2 and 8 are alternate exterior angles, which means they're congruent, which means they have the same angle measure. So angle 8 is measured to 82 degrees. And then another thing I want to note, and this last part, is I see that angle 8 and angle 5 form a line, right? They go along the transversal, which means they add up to be 180. So what that means is angle 8, oops, sorry, I'm on my highlighter. Angle 8 plus angle 5 equals 180. So all I do from here is I take 180, I minus 82. That gets me 98. So that means angle 5 is 98. So let's see. So 82 and 98. So I leave the thing, and we'll put 98 and 82. Then go on Alex and check. See if I got it right. Good. Okay. This lesson is going to take a little bit of practice. There's a lot of things you have to memorize. I would say go back in the video, write a couple notes, maybe write down the definitions. That way you have a pretty helpful guide that you're able to see and refer to. But yeah, we're going to take maybe one day to do this. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions when I'm in class. And yeah, see you guys.